Yeah.
And I don't feel like they're as fans as much. That's where I see like a lot of indies pulling up and coming in, especially with a lot of tight experiences. Like Celeste, a great example of an awesome platformer. Just the experience there was really, really tight. We don't see that, I don't think, from AAA, at least not in the larger sense from most studios, most big studios. And I think that has slowly, because I think a lot of other consumers are picking up that these developers aren't exactly fans anymore like they used to be. And I think that has definitely caused a divide. Like consumers could vibe on that. I could vibe on that. You know, I mean, I play games all the time. I consider myself as a consumer just the same. And I could vibe that too. I could feel when a developer, their heart's not into it. The game, it's just like lacks a soul. It's hard to describe, but for sure, you know.
Well, I think, you know, I think there's a lot of reasons for that. Part of that is the industry is so much bigger now. And when it was smaller, you basically had, like, the population didn't grow that fast. Like, the population of Earth didn't grow that fast, but the industry has scaled up a huge amount, right? Relatively speaking. And so you used to just have the people most excited about the ideas of making video games, and salaries were a lot smaller, so you wouldn't really get into it for the money. In fact, you had to love it because the money was pretty poor a lot of the time, most of the time. And it's just easier to have like friendships in the industry and motivate each other when it's smaller and you know more people. And then, you know, in terms of a particular game, like if you're on a game and it takes 1 year to make or 18 months to make, you can develop this enthusiasm and it can last that long, right? You can fire yourself up. You know, a lot of people even have trouble being motivated for that long, but in 18 months, you could get it at the beginning, you could lose it in the middle, and then you can get hyped that the game is coming toward the end and like really put in the effort. When a game takes 5 years, 6 years, I've been working on something for 9 years, God forbid.
Yeah, I've paid attention
it's
to some
much
of your streams,
harder. Yeah, it is much harder to maintain that enthusiasm. And yeah, and then with team size, again, you know, if you're making a game with 10 other people, you have a really big individual contribution to that game, which means multiple things. It means your decisions have a bigger determination on what the game becomes. And it also just means that your role is much more important, right? If you let the team down, the game's not going to get done as fast, or it'll be missing some stuff, and you know, players won't like it as much and stuff, right? So there's at least a couple dimensions there of why your role is so important. When there's 1,000 people working on a game and you're like the guy who makes dinner plates for GTA 6 or whatever, it's like, what are you gonna, I mean, I guess you have a little bit of like, oh, I'm working on this big franchise name and I could feel, you know, I can name drop that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's not the same. It's just, it's not passion, right? Nobody's going to be passionate about being the guy who makes dinner plates and then maybe cups if that other guy quits or whatever, or is slow.